As I remember it, Adam, it was on this fashion bequeathed me by will, but pour 1,000 crowns, and as thou sayest, charged my brother on his blessing to breed me well. And there begins my sadness. My sister Jacqueline, she keeps at school, and report speaks goldenly of her profits. For my part, he keeps me rustically at home, or to speak more properly, stays me here at home unkempt for. For call you thing of a gentleman, that differs not from the stalling of an ox.
Yes, but
his
master,
horses are better. And to that point, they are fair in their feeding, they're taught their manage, and to that end, riders dearly hired. But I, his brother, gain nothing under him but growth, for which his animals on his dunghills are as much bound to him as I.
Master, but
besides this nothing that he so plentifully gives me, the something nature did give me, his countenance seems to take from me. He lets me feed with his hinds, bars me the place of a brother, and as much as in him lies, minds my gentility with my education. This is it, Adam. That grieves me, and the spirit of my father, which I think is within me, begins to mutiny against this servitude. I will no longer stand it, yet I know no wise how to avoid it.
Yonder comes my master, your brother.
Now, sir, what make you here?
Nothing, sir. I am not taught to make anything.
What mar you then, sir?
Mary, I help to mar that which God made, a poor unworthy brother of yours with countenance.
Mary, sir, be better employed, and be not a while.
Oh, shall I keep your hogs and eat husks with them too?
What prodigal poison have I spent that I should come to such penury?
Know you where you are, sir?
Oh, very well, sir. Here in your orchard.
Know you before whom, sir?
Aye, better than he I am before knows me. I know you are my brother, and in the gentle condition of blood, you should so know me. The courtesy of nations allows you my better. That same tradition takes not away from my blood where there are 20 brothers betwixt us. I have as much of my father in me as you, albeit your coming before me is nearer to his reverence.
What, boy?
Come, elder brother. You are too young.
Masters, please stop.
I am no villain. I am the youngest son of Sir Rosalind de Boys, and he is thrice a villain that says such father begot villains. Wert thou not my brother, would not remove this hand from thy throat till the other had ripped out thy tongue for saying so. You have railed upon yourself.
Oh, masters, please be patient.
Let me
Your
go, I
father's
say.
remembrance be at accord.
My father charged you in his will to give me good education. You have trained me like a peasant, obscuring and hiding from me all gentlemanlike qualities. The spirit of my father grows strong in me, and I will no longer take it. Therefore, allow me such exercises as may become a gentleman, or give me the poor lottery my father left me. With that, I will go and buy my fortunes.
What wilt thou beg when that is spent?
Sir, get you in. You will have some part of your will. I pray you leave me.
I will no longer offend you than becomes me for my own good.
Get you with him, you old dog.
Is old dog my reward? Most true, I have lost my teeth in your service. God be with me, old master. He would never have spoke such a word.
Is it even so? Begin now to grow upon me? I will physic your rankness and pay no 1,000 crowns neither.
Oh, no.
Hola, Dennis.
Calls your worship?
Was not Charles the Duke's wrestler here to speak with me?
So pleases you. He is here at the door now and importunes access.
'Twill be a good way. Tomorrow the wrestling is. Good Monsieur Charles, what's the new news at the new court?
There's no news at the court, sir, but the old news. That is, the old Duke is banished by his younger brother, the new Duke, and 3 or 4 loving lords have put themselves into voluntary exile with him, whose lands and revenues enrich the new Duke. Therefore, he gives them good leave to wander.
Can you tell if Rosalind, the Duke's daughter, be banished with her father?
Oh, no, for the Duke's daughter. Her cousin so loves her, being ever from their cradles bred together, and she would have followed her exile or have died to stay behind her. She's at the court, and no less beloved of her uncle than his own daughter, and no 2 ladies loved as they do.
Where will the old Duke live?
They say he's already in the forest of Arden, and a many merry men with him. and there they live like the old Robin Hood of England. They say many young gentlemen flock to him every day and fleet the time carelessly, as they did in the Golden World.
What? You wrestle tomorrow before the new Duke.
Ah! Married do I, sir? Ah!
Farewell, good Charles. Now will I stir this gamester. I hope I shall see an end of him, for my soul, yet I not know why, hates nothing more than he. Yet he's gentle, never schooled, and yet learned, full of noble device and of all sorts, enchantingly beloved. Indeed, so much in the heart of the world, and especially of my own people, who best know him, that I am altogether misprized. But it shall not be so long, for this wrestler shall clear all. All that remains is that I kindle the boy thither, which now I will go about.
Pray thee, Rosalind, sweet my cause, be merry.
Dear Celia, I show more mirth than I am mistress of, and yet you would I were merrier? Unless you could teach me to forget a banished father, you must not remember me any extraordinary pleasures.
Herein I see that thou lovest me not with the full weight that I love thee. If my uncle, thy banished father, had banished thy uncle, the Duke my father, I could have taught thy love to take thy father for mine. So wouldst thou, if the truth of thy love were so righteously tempered to me as mine is to thee.
Well then, I shall forget the condition of my estate to rejoice in yours.
You know my father hath no heir, nor is like to have. And truly when he dies, thou shalt be his heir. For all that my father hath taken from thy father perforce, I will render thee again in affection. By mine honor I will. And when I break that oath, let me turn monster. Therefore, my dear Rose, my sweet Rose, please be merry.
From henceforth I will, and devise sport. Let me see. What think you of falling in love?
Marry, I prithee do, and to make sport withal.
Mistress, you must come away to your father.
Were you made the messenger?
No, by mine honor, but I was bid to come for you.
And where learned you that oath, fool?
Of a certain knight that swore by his honor the pancakes were good, and swore by his honor the mustard was not. Now I'll stand to it, the pancakes were not, and the mustard was good, and yet was not forsworn.
How prove you that in the great heap of your knowledge?
I, Mary, unmuzzle your wisdom.
Stand you both forth now. Stroke your chins and swear by your beards that I am a knave.
By our beards?
If we had them. Thou art.
By my knavery. If I had it, then I were. But if you swear by that is not, then you are not forsworn. Nor more was this knight, for he never had any honor in the first place. Or if he had thrown it away before he saw those pancakes or that mustard.
Prithee, who is it thou meanest?
One that Sir Frederick, your father, loves.
My father's love is enough to honor him enough. Speak no more of him. You'll be whipped for taxation one of these days.
The more pity that fools may not speak wisely what wise men do foolishly.
By my troth thou sayest true, for the little wit that fools have was silenced, the little foolery that wise men have makes a great show. Here comes Monsieur Lebeau.
With his mouth full of news.
Which he will put on us as pigeons feed their young.
Fair princess, you have lost much good sport.
Sport? Of what color?
What color, madame? Oh, how shall I answer you?
As wit and fortune will.
Or as the destiny's decree.
Well said. That was laid on with the trowel.
Nay, if I keep not my rein.
Then thou losest that old smell.
You amaze me, ladies. I was to tell you of good wrestling, which you have lost the sight of.
Shall we see this wrestling, cousin?
You must if you stay here, for here is the place appointed for the wrestling, and they are ready to perform it.
Yonder sure they are coming. Let us now come stay and see it.
Is yonder the man?
Come on, since the youth will not be entreated, his own peril on his forwardness.
Alas, he's too young, yet he looks successful.
How now, daughter and cousin? Are you craft hither to see the wrestling?
Aye, my liege. So give us leave.
You'll take little delight in it, I can tell you. In pity the challenger's youth, I would fain dissuade him, but he would not be entreated. Speak to him, ladies. See if you can move him.
Call him hither, good touchstone.
Do so. I'll be not by.
Monsieur the challenger, the princess calls for you.
I attend them with all respect and duty.
Young man, have you challenged Charles the wrestler?
No, fair princess. He is the general challenger. I come but in as others do to try with him the strength of my youth.
Young man, your spirits are too bold for your years. You've seen cool proof of this man's strength. If you saw yourself with your eyes or knew yourself with your judgment, your fear of your adventure would counsel you to a more equal enterprise. Therefore, we pray you for your own sake to embrace your own safety and give over this attempt.
Do, sir. Your reputation will therefore not be misprized. We shall make it our concern to the Duke that the wrestling might not go forward.
I pray you punish me not with your hard thoughts, wherein I confess me much guilty to deny so fair and excellent ladies anything, but let your fair eyes and gentle wishes go with me to my trial, wherein if I be foiled, there is but one shamed that is willing to be so. If dead, one killed that was never gracious. I shall do my friends no wrong, for I have none to lament me, and I shall do the world no harm, for in it I have nothing. Only in the world I take up a place which may be better supplied once I have made it empty.
Well, what little strength I had, I would it were with you.
And mine to eke out hers.
Fare you well, and pray heaven I be deceived in you.
Your heart's desires be with you.
Come! Where is this young gallant that is so desirous to lie with his mother earth?
Ready, sir, but this will happen in a more modest working.
Come on, Charles!
Stop it.
Come on! Be careful. You shall try with one fall.
No! I want your grace. Thou shalt not entreat him to a second that have so mightily persuaded him from a first.
You mean to mock me after? Oh, you should not have mocked me before, but come.
Yes!
Oh my God! Be careful.
Let's go, Charles! Come on! Come on, Charles! Wait his neck! Get up, Charles!
Yes, I beseech your grace. I am not yet well breathed.
How dost thou, Charles?
He cannot speak, my lord.
Bear him away. What is thy name, young man?
Orlando, my liege, youngest son of Sir Rowland de Boys.
I would thou hast been son to some man else. The world esteemed thy father honorable, yet I did find him still mine enemy. Thou shouldst have better pleased me with this deed, had thou descended from another house. But fare thee well. Thou art a gallant youth. I would thou hast told me of another father.
Were I my father, cause would I do this?
I'm more proud to be Sir Rowland's son, his youngest son, and will not change that calling to be adopted heir to Frederick.
My father loved Sir Rowland as his soul, and all the world was of my father's mind. If I'd known this young man to be his son, I would have given him tears upon entreaties, and he thus would have ventured.
Gentle cousin, let us go and thank him and encourage him. My father's rough and envious disposition sticks me at heart. Sir, you are well deserved. If you keep your promises and love, but justly as you've exceeded all promise, your mistress shall be very happy.
Wear this for me. One out of the suits of fortune. That would give more, but that her hand lacks means. Shall we go, cousin?
Aye.
Fare you well.
Can I not say I thank you? Yeah, better parts are all thrown down, and that which stands here up is but a quintain. You're a lifeless block.
My pride fell with my fortune. I will ask you what you would. You called, sir? You have overthrown more than thine enemy.
Will you go, cause?
Have with you. Fare you well.
What passion hangs these weights upon my tongue? I cannot speak to her, yet she urged confidence. Ah, Orlando, thou art overthrown. Charles or something greater masters thee.
Good sir, I do in friendship counsel you to leave this place, albeit you have deserved high commendation, true applause, and love. Yet it is in the Duke's such condition that he misconstrues all that you have done. The Duke is humorous, yet he is indeed more suits you to conceive than I to speak of.
I thank you, and pray you tell me which of the two was daughter to the Duke that was here at the wrestling today?
Neither the daughters, if we judge by manners, yet indeed the taller is his daughter, for the other belongs to the banished Duke, here retained by her usurping uncle, to keep her company, whose loves are dearer than the natural bond of sisters. But I can tell you that as of late the Duke hath taken displeasure against his gentle niece, here grounded upon no other argument than that the people praise her for her virtues, and pity her for her good father's sake. And on my life his malice will break forth. Sir, fare ye well, hereafter in a better world than this, I shall seek more love and knowledge of you.
I rest much bounding on you. Fare ye well. Thus am I from smoke into smother, from tyrant Duke into a tyrant brother. But heavenly Rosalind.
Why, cousin? Why, Rosalind? Cupid hath mercy, not a word?
Not one to throw at a dog.
No, thy words are way too precious to be cast away upon curs. Throw some of them at me. Come lay me with reasons.
Then there be two cousins laid up, one laid with reason and the other mad without any.
But is all this for your father?
No, some of it is for my child's father. How full of burrs is the working day world.
They are but burrs, cousin, thrown upon thee in holiday foolery. If we walk not in the trodden paths, our very petticoats will catch them.
I could shake them off my coat. These burrs are on my heart.
Hand them away.
I would try if I could cry him and have him.
Come wrestle with thy affections.
Well, they've taken the part of a better wrestler than myself.
Oh, a good wish upon you. You will try in time in despite of a fall, but taking these jests out of service, let us talk in good earnest. Is it possible on such a sudden that you fall into so deep a liking with Sir Roland's youngest son?
My father loved his father dearly.
Doth it therefore ensue that you should love his son dearly? By this kind of chase I should hate him, for my father hated his father, but hate not Orlando.
Oh, no, faith, hate him not for my sake.
Why should I not? Doth he not deserve well?
I will love him for that, and you love him because I do. Here comes the Duke.
With his eyes full of anger.
Mistress, dispatch you with your safest haste and get you from our court.
Me, uncle?
You, niece. Within these 10 days, if that thou beest found, so our near our public court is 20 miles. Thou diest for it.
I do beseech your grace. Let me know the knowledge of my fault. Bear with me.
Thou art thy father's daughter. There's enough.
Pronounce that sentence then on me, my liege. I cannot live out of her company.
You are a fool. You, cousin, if you outstay the time, upon mine honor, and in the greatness of my word, thou diest for it.
Oh, my poor Rosalind, whither wilt thou go? Wilt thou change fathers? I will give thee mine. I charge thee, be no more grieved than I am.
I have more cause.
Thou hast not. Knowst thou not that the Duke hath banished me, his daughter?
That he hath not.
No, hath not? Thou then lackst the knowledge that teacheth thee that thou and I am one. Shall we be sundered? Shall we part, sweet girl? No. Let my father seek another heir. Therefore, devise with me how we may fly, whither to go, and what to bear with us. And do not seek to take your charges by yourself, to bear your griefs alone, and to leave me out. For by this heaven at our sorrow's pale, say what thou canst, I'll go along with thee.
Whither wilt we go?
To seek my uncle in the forest of Arden.
What danger would that be of us? Maids as we are, beauty provoketh thieves sooner than gold.
I'll put myself in a poor, mean attire with a kind of unbesmirch on my face, the like do you. So shall we stray along and never stir assailants.
Would it not be better that because I am more than common tall, that I did suit myself in all the points like a man? A girdle axe upon my thigh, a boar's spear in my hand, and in my heart what hidden women's fear there will. We'll have a swashing and martial outside, as many mannish cowards have to outface it with their semblances.
Well, what shall I call thee when thou art a man?
Ooh, I'll have no worse name than Jove's own page, and therefore, look you call me Ganymede. But what will you be called?
Something that hath reference to my state. No longer Celia, but Aliena.
Cousin, what if we essayed to steal the foolish clown from your father's court? Would he not be good comfort to our travels?
He'll go along over the wide world with me. Leave me alone to woo him. Let's away and get our jewels and wealth together and devise the fittest time and the safest place to avoid the pursuit that will be made after my flight. Now we go in content to liberty and not to banishment.
Can it be possible that no man saw them? It cannot be. Some villains in my court are in contempt and sufferance of this.
I cannot think of any that did see her. The ladies, her attendants of the chamber, saw her abed in the morning early. They found the bed untreasured of their mistress.
My lord, the Rhoynish clown, of whom so oft her grace was wont to laugh, is also missing. Hesperia, the princess's gentlewoman, confesses that she secretly overheard your daughter and her cousin much commend the parts and graces of the wrestler that did but fool the sinewy Charles. And she believes, wherever they are, that youth is surely in their company.
Send to his brother. Fetch that gallant hither. I'll make him find him. And let not search and inquisition quail to bring in these foolish runaways.
What? Who's there?
What? My young master. Oh, my sweet master. Oh, my gentle master. You memory of old Sir Roland.
Why? What's the matter, Adam?
Oh, unhappy youth. Come not within these doors, within this roof. The enemy of all your graces lives. Your brother. No, not the brother, yet the son. Yet not the son. I will not call him son. Of him I was about to call his father. I have heard your praises. In this night he means to burn the lodgings where you used to lie, and you within it. If he fail of that, he will have other means to cut you off. I overheard him and his practices. This is no place. This house is but a butchery. Abhor it. Fear it. Do not enter it.
Why, whither, Adam, wouldst thou have me go?
No matter whither, so you come not here.
But what, wouldst thou have me go and beg my food, or with a base and boisterous sword enforce a thievish living on the common road? No, Adam, this I must do, yet this not know what to do. Yet this I will not do what I can. I rather will subject myself to the malice of a diverted blood and bloody brother.
But do not so. I have 500 crowns. The 50 hire I did save to be my foster nurse, when in service should my old limbs lie lame, and unregarded age and corners thrown. Take that, and he doth the ravens feed, yea, providently caters for the sparrow. Be comfort to my age. Here is the gold. All this I give to you. Let me be your servant. Though I look old, yet I am strong and lusty. For in my youth, I did not apply hot and rebellious liquids in my blood, nor did unbashful forehead woo the means of weakness and debility. Therefore my age is a lusty winter, frosty but kindly. Let me be your servant. I'll do the service of a younger man in all your business and necessities.
Oh, poor old man. How well in thee lives the constant service of the antique world, where service sweat for duty and not for meed. Thou art not the fact these times where none will sweat but for promotion, and in doing so do choke their service up with the having. It is not so with thee, but poor old man, thou prunest a rotten tree that cannot so much as a blossom yield in lieu of thy pains and husbandry, but Come, we'll go along together, and ere we have that youthful wages spent, we'll light upon some low and distant content.
Go on, master, and I will follow thee. To the last gasp, truth and loyalty. From 17 years till now, almost 80, here lived I. But now, live here no more. For at 17 years, many their fortune seek. But at 80, it is too late a week. Yet fortune cannot recompense me better than to die well and not at my master's debtor.
Jupiter, how weary are my spirits.
I care not for my spirits if my legs were not weary.
I could find it in my heart to disgrace my man's apparel and to cry like a woman, but I must comfort the weaker vessels, as doublet and hose ought to show courageous to petticoat, and therefore, courage, good Aliena.
I pray you bear with me. I cannot go no further.
For my part, I'd rather bear with you than bear you. Yet I should not bear you if I bear no cost, for I think you have no money in your purse.
Well, this is the forest of Arden.
Aye, and how I'm in Arden, the more fool I. Back home, I was in a better place, but travelers must be content.
Be so good, Touchstone. Look you who comes here, a young man in old and solemn talk.
Tis the way to make her scorn you still.
Oh, Corn, that thou knowest how I do love her.
Partly guess, for I have loved her now.
No, Corn, being old, thou canst not guess. Though in thy youth thy was a true lover, as ever sighed upon a midnight pillow. But if thy love were ever like to mine, as I'm sure I think never man did so love, how many actions most ridiculous hast thou been drawn to by thy fantasy?
Into 1,000 that I have forgotten.
Oh, Corn, thou didst then never love so heartily. If thou rememberest not the slightest folly love make thee run into, thou hast not loved. Or, if thou hast not sat as I do now, wearing thy hearer in thy mistress' praise, thou hast not loved. Or, if thou hast not broken from company abruptly, as my passion makes me now, thou hast not loved. Phoebe! Phoebe! Phoebe!
Alas, poor shepherd, in search of thy wound, I have by hard adventure found mine own.
And I mine. I remember when I was in love, I broke my sword upon a stone and bid him coming a night to Jane's smile. And I remember the kissing of her batlets and cowslips that her pretty hands had milked. And I remember the wooing of the peace cod instead of her, of whom I took 2 cods and giving her them again, said with weeping tears, "Wear these for my sake." We that are lovers run into strange capers. But as all is mortal in nature, so is all nature in love, mortal in folly.
Thou speakest wiser than thou art whereof.
Nay, I shall not beware of my own wit till I break my shins against it.
Jove, Jove, this shepherd's passion is much upon my fashion.
And mine, though it grows something stale with me.
I pray you, one of you, question yon man. If he for gold will give us any food, I faint almost to death.
Holla! You clown!
Peace, you fool! He is not thy kinsman.
Who calls?
Your betters, sir.
Else are they very wretched.
Peace, you. And good even to you, sir.
And to you, gentle sir. And to you all.
Shepherd, if love or gold could in this desert place buy entertainment, bring us to where we may rest and feed, for here is a maiden travels much oppressed and faints for succor.
Sir, I pity her, and wish for her sake more than mine own that my fortunes were more able to relieve her. But I am shepherd to another man, and do not share the fleeces that I graze. My master is of churlish disposition, and little reeks to find the way to heaven by doing deeds of hospitality. But alas, his coat, his flocks, and bounds of feed are now on sale. And at our sheepcote now, by reason of his absence, there is nothing you will feed on. But what is? Come, see, and in my voice most welcome you shall be.
Well, what is he that shall buy the flock and pasture?
That young swain that you saw but ere while, that little cares for buying anything.
Well, if it be of honest standing, thou shalt buy the cottage, the pasture, and the flock, and thou shalt have to pay for it of us.
And we will mend thy wages. I like this place, and I could willingly waste my time in it.
Assuredly, the thing is to be sold. Go with me, and if you like upon report the soil, the profit in this kind of life, I will your very faithful servant be, and buy it with your gold right suddenly.
Blow, blow, a winter wind, thou art not so unkind as man's ingratitude. Truth is not so keen, because thou art not seen, although thy breath be rude. Hey ho, sing, hey ho, unto the green.
Brothers and co-mates in exile, hath not old custom made this life more sweet than of painted pomp? Are not these woods more free from peril than the envious court?
I will not change it. Happy is your grace that can translate the stubbornness of fortune into so quiet and so sweet a style. Under the greenwood tree, who loves to lie with me and turn his merry note unto the sweet bird's throat. Come hither, come hither, come hither. Who shall he see? No enemy, but winter and rough weather.
More, I prithee, more.
It will make you melancholy, Monsieur Jacques.
Nay, I thank it. More, I prithee, more. I can suck melancholy out of a song as a weasel sucks eggs. More, I prithee, more.
My voice is ragged. I know I cannot please you.
I do not care for you to please me. I do desire for you to sing. Come now, another stanzo. Call you stanzos.
What you will, Monsieur Jacques.
Nay, I thank it. I care not for their names. They owe me nothing. Will you sing?
More at your request than to please myself.
Well then, if ever I am to thank any man, I shall thank you. But that they call compliment is like the encounter of two dog apes. And when a man thanks me heartedly, methinks I have given him a penny, and he renders me to a beggarly thanks. Come, sing, you who will not hold your tongues.
Well, I'll finish the song. Sirs, cover the while, the Duke will drink unto this tree. He hath been all this day to look you.
I hath been all this day to avoid him. He's too disputable for my company. I think of as many matters as he, and yet thank and give no boast, and heaven thank, and come, wearable, come.
Who doth ambition shun, loves to live in the sun, seeking the food he eats, and pleased with what he gets. Come hither, come hither, come hither. Who shall he see? No enemy, but winter and rough weather.
Dear master, I can go no farther. Oh, I die for food. Here I lie and measure out my grave.
How now, Adam? No greater heart in thee? Live a little, comfort a little, cheer thyself a little. If this uncouth forest yield anything savage, I will either be food for it or bring it for food to thee. Thy conceit is nearer death than thy powers. For my sake, be comfortable. Hold death a while at the arm's end, and I will be with thee presently. If I bring thee not something to eat, I will give thee leave to die. But if thou diest before I return, thou art a mocker of my labor. Well said. Thou lookest cheerily. Be comfortable. Hold death a while, and I will be with thee presently. Thou shalt not die for a lack of dinner.
I think he be transformed into a beast, for I can nowhere find him like a man.
My lord, he is but even now gone hence. Here he was merry, hearing of a song.
If he, compact of jars, grow musical, we shall have shortly discord in the spheres.
Go seek him and tell him I would speak with him.
Ah, he saves my labor by his own approach.
Oh, how now, monsieur? What a life is this, that your poor friends must woo your company? What? He looked merrily.
A fool. A fool. I met a fool in the forest. A motley fool. A miserable world. As I do live by food, I met a fool who laid him down and basked him in the sun and railed on Lady Fortune in good terms, in good set terms, and yet a fool. Good morrow, fool, quoth I. No, sir, quoth he. Call me not a fool till heaven hath sent me fortune. And then he drew a dial from his poke, and looking on it with lackluster eye, says very wisely, It is 10 o'clock. Thus we may see, quoth he, how the world wags. 'Tis but an hour ago it was 9, and after 1 hour more, 'twill be 11. And so from hour to hour we ripen, from hour to hour we rot and rot. And thereby hangs a tale. And when I did hear this fool thus moral on time, my lungs began to crow like chanticleer. Should fools be so deep contemplative? And I did laugh sans intermission, an hour by his dial. O noble fool, O worthy fool, motley is the only way.
What fool is this?
O worthy fool, one that hath been a courtier, and says if ladies be but young and fair, they have the gift to know it. And his brain, which is as dry as the remainder biscuit after a voyage, he hath strange places crammed with observation, the likes of which he vents in mangled forms. Oh, if I were a fool, I am ambitious for a motley coat.
Forbear, and eat no more.
Why, I've eaten none yet.
Nor shalt not till necessity be served.
What kind should this cock come of?
Art thou thus boldened, man, by thy distress, or else a rude despiser of good manners, that in civility thou seem'st so empty?
I must die for food, and let me have it.
Sit down and feed.
Speak you so softly. I pray you pardon me. I had thought all things had been savage here. But whatever you are in this desert inaccessible, under the shade of melancholy boughs, if ever thou hast looked on better days, if ever thou hast been where bells had knolled to church, if ever had sate at any good man's feast, if ever had wiped a tear from thine eye and know it is to pity and be pitied, then let gentleness my strong enforcement be, in the which hope I blush and hide my sword.
It is true that we have seen better days, and with holy bell been knolled to church, and sat at good men's feasts, and wiped our tears of drops pity hath engendered. Therefore sit you down in gentleness, take upon command what help we have, that to your wanting may be ministered.
Then, but forbear a little while, like a doe, I go and find my fawn. There is an old man who after me hath many a weary step limped in pure love, till he be first sufficed, oppressed with 2 weak evils, age and hunger. I will not touch a bit.
Go seek him. We will nothing waste till you return.
I thank thee.
Thou seest that we are not all alone and unhappy. This wide and universal theater presents more woeful pageants than the scene wherein we play in.
All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts. His acts being 7 ages. At first, the infant, mewling and puking in the nurse's arms, and then the whiny schoolboy, with satchel and shining morning face, creeping like snail unwillingly to school, and then the lover, sighing like furnace, with a ballad made to his mistress's eyebrow, and then the soldier, full of strange oaths and bearded like the pard, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation even in the cannon's mouth, and then the justice, in fair round belly, with good capone mind, with eyes severe and beard of formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances. So he plays his part. The 6th age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon, with spectacles on nose and pouch on side, his youthful hose well saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank, and his big manly voice once again turning towards childish trebles, pipes, and whistles in his sound. Last scene of all, then, is this strange eventful history is second childishness, near oblivion. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything.
Ah, welcome. Set down your vulnerable burthens and let him feed.
I thank thee most for him.
so had you need. I can scarce speak to thank you for myself.
Welcome, Fall 2. I will wait as to question you about your fortunes. Play us some good music, and good cousins sing.
Blow, blow, a winter wind, thou art not so unkind.
If you truly are the good Sir Roland's son, as you whispered faithfully you were, mine doth his effigies witness, most truly limed and living in your face. Be truly welcome hither. I am the Duke that loved your father. The residue of your fortune go to my cave and tell me. Good old man, thou art right welcome as thy master is. Grab this man by the arm and give me your hand, and let me all your fortunes understand.
Loving mere folly, hey ho, holly, this life is most jolly.
Not seen them since? Sir, this cannot be. But were I not the better part made mercy, I would not seek an absent argument of my revenge, though present. But look to it. Find out thy brother, wheresoever he is. Seek him by candle. Bring him, dead or living, within this 12-month, or turn no more to seek a living in our territory. Thy lands and all things that thou dost call thine, worth seizure, do we seize into our hands, till thou can quit thee, bribe thy brother's mouth of what we think against thee.
If only your highness knew my part in this. I have never loved my brother in my life.
More villain thou. Well, throw him out of doors, and let our officers of such a nature make an extent upon his house and lands. Do this expediently, and turn him going.
Hang there my verse in witness of my love, and thou thrice-crowned queen of night survey, with thy chaste eye from thy pale sphere above, thy huntress's name that my full life doth sway. O Rosalind, these trees shall be my books, and in their barks my thought I'll character, that every eye which in this forest looks shall see thy virtue witnessed everywhere. Run, run, Orlando, carve on every tree the fair, chaste, the unexpressive she.
Oh, and how you like the shepherd's life, Master Touchstone?
Truly, shepherd, in respect itself, it is a good life. But in respect it is shepherd's life, it is not. In respect that it is private, I like it very well. Now, in respect that it is in the fields, it pleaseth me well. It is not a court, it is tedious. As is fair life, look you, it fits my humor well. But as there's no more plenty in it, it goes much against my stomach. Hast any philosophy in thee, shepherd?
No more than I know, the more one sickens, the worse at ease he is. And that he that desires money, means, and contents without three good friends. That the property of rain is to wet, and fire to burn. That good pasture makes fat sheep, and a great cause of the night is lack of the sun. Or he that hath learned no wit by nature nor art, may complain of good breeding, or comes of a very dull kindred.
Such a one is a natural philosopher. Was ever at court, shepherd?
No, truly.
Then thou art damned.
Nay, I hope.
Truly, thou art damned, like an ill-roasted egg, all on one side.
For not being at court? Your reason.
Why, if thou never wast at court, thou never sawest good manners. Thou never sawest good manners, thy manners must be wicked, and wickedness is a sin, and sin is damnation. Thou art in a parlous state, shepherd.
Not a whit, Touchstone. Those that are good manners at the court are as ridiculous in the country as the behavior of the country is most mockable at the court. You told me you salute not at the court, but you kiss your hands? That courtesy would be uncleanly if courtiers were shepherds.
Instance, briefly, come instance.
Why, we are still handling our ewes, and their fells, you know, are greasy.
Why do not your courtier's hands sweat? And is not the grease of mutton as wholesome as the sweat of man? Shallow, shallow. A better instance, I say. Come.
Besides, our hands are hard.
Your lips will feel them the sooner. Shallow again, a more sounder instance.
And they're often tarred over with the surgery of our sheep. And would you have us kiss tar? The courtier's hands are perfumed with civet.
Shallow, man. Thou worm's meat of a good piece of flesh indeed. Learn of the wise and perpend. Civet is of a baser birth than tar, the very uncleanly flux of a cat. Mend the instant, shepherd.
You have too courtly a wit for me. I'll rest.
Wilt thou rest damned? God help thee, God make incision in thee. Thou art raw.
Sir, I am a true laborer. I earn that I eat, get that I wear, owe no man hate, envy no man's happiness, glad of other man's good, content with my harm. And the greatest of my pride is to see my ewes graze and my lambs suck.
That is another simple sin in you, to bring the ewes and the rams together, and to bid to make your living by the copulation of cattle, to be bought by bellwether, and to betray a she-lamb of 12 months to a crooked-pated old cuckoldie ran not with all reasonable match. If thou beest not damned, the devil himself will have no shepherds. I cannot see how thou shouldst escape.
Oh, here Master Ganymede, my new mistress's brother.
From east to western Indy, no jewel is like Rosalind. Her worth being mounted on the wind, through all the world bears Rosalind. All the paintings fairest lined are but black to Rosalind. Keep no other face in mind but the fair of Rosalind.
I'll rhyme you so 8 years together, dinners and suppers and sleeping hours accepted. It is right butter woman's rank to market.
Out, fool.
Foretaste. If a heart do lack a hind, let him seek out Rosalind. If the cat will after kind, so be sure will Rosalind. Wintred garments must be rhymed, so must slender Rosalind. They that reap must sheaf and bind, then to cart with Rosalind. Sweetest nut has sourest rind, such a nut is Rosalind. He that sweetest rose must find love's prick with Rosalind. This is the very false gallop of verses. Why do you infect yourselves with them?
Peace, fool. I found it on a tree.
Truly, the tree yields bad fruit.
I'll grab it with you, then I shall wrap it with the meddler. Then it'll be the earliest fruit in the country. For you'll be rotten ere you be half ripe, and that is the right virtue of the meddler.
You have said, but whether wise or no, let the forest judge.
Here comes my sister reading. Step aside.
Why should this a desert be? For it is unpeopled. No. Tongues will hang on every tree that civil saying shall show. Some, how brief the life of man runs his erring pilgrimage, that the stretching of a span buckles in his sum of age. Some, that the stretching of a span violated vows twixt the souls of friend and friend upon the fastest vows, or at every sentence end. Will I, Rosalind write, teaching all that sentence end the quintessence of every sprite. Heaven would in little show, therefore heaven nature charged, that one body should be filled with all the graces white enlarged. Nature presently distilled Helen's cheek, but not her heart. Atlantis better part, sad the gracious modesty, thus Rosalind of many parts by heavenly synod was devised, of many faces, eyes, and parts, to have the toughest dearest prize. Heaven would that she these gifts should I have, and I to live and die her slave.
Oh, gentle Jupiter, what tedious homily of love have you wearied your parishioners withal, and never once cried, have patience, good people.
How now? Back, friends. Shepherd, go off a little. Go with him, good straw.
Come, shepherd, let us make honorable retreat, not with bag and baggage, yet with scrip and scrippage.
Didst thou hear these verses?
Aye, I heard them all, and more too, for some of them had within them more feet than the verses could bear.
That's no matter. The feet might bear the verses.
Yeah, but the feet were lame and could not bear themselves without the verses, and therefore stood weakly in the verses.
But didst thou hear without wondering how thy name should be hanged and carved upon these trees?
I was 7 of the 9 days out of the wandering before you came, for look you what I found upon a tree. I was never so berhymed since Pythagoras' time that I were an Irish rat, but I can hardly remember that.
Trow you who hath done this?
Is it a man?
And a chain that you once wore about his neck? Change you color?
I prithee, who is it?
Oh, Lord, it is a hard matter for friends to meet, but mountains they be removed and so encounter.
But tell me, who is it?
Is it possible?
Nay, tell me who it is.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful, and most wonderful, wonderful, and after that wonderful, and again out of all hooping.
Good, my complexion. Dost thou think, though I am in man's apparel, I have doublet and hose in my disposition? I would thou couldst stutter, that thou might pour this concealed man out of thy mouth like wine out of a narrow-necked bottle, either all at once or none at all. I prithee, take the cork out of thy mouth and tell me who it is.
So that you may put a man in your belly.
God, what manner of man is he? Is his head worth a hat or his chin worth a beard?
Nay, he hath but a little beard.
Well, God will give him a beard if the man be thankful. Let me stay the growth of his beard if you deny me not the knowledge of his chin.
It is young. Orlando! The trip that both the wrestler seals and your heart both in an instant.
Nay, devil take mock. Speak soft brow and true maid.
I faith caused. See?
Orlando?
Orlando!
Alas, today, what will I do with my doublet and hose? What said he when you sawest him? How looked he? Wherein went he? What makes he here? Did he ask for me? How parted he with thee, and when wilt thou see him again? Answer me in one word.
You must bar me Gargantua's mouth first. 'Tis a word too great for any mouth of this age's size. To say aye and no to these particulars is more than to answer a catechism.
But does he know that I am in the forest in man's apparel? Look he as good as the day he wrestled?
It is as easy to count atomies as to resolve the propositions of a lover. But take my findings of him and relish them with good earnest. I found him under a tree, like a dropped acorn.
It may well be called Jove's tree when he drops such fruit.
Give me audience, good madam.
Proceed.
There he lay, stretched along like a wounded knight.
Oh.
There he was, furnished like a hunter.
Oh, ominous. He comes to kill my heart.
I would sing my song without a bird, and thou bringest me out of tune.
Dost thou know that I am a woman? When I think, I must speak. Sweet, say on.
You bring me oft. Soft. Comes he not here?
'Tis he. Slink by and know him.
I thank you for your company, but good faith I had, as lief have been myself alone.
As do I, but for fashion's sake, I thank you for your society.
God by you, let's meet as little as we can.
Indeed, I do desire we may become better strangers.
I pray you mar no more trees with writing love songs in their bark.
I pray you mar no more of my verses with your reading them ill-favoredly.
Rosalind is your love's name?
Yes, just.
I do not like her name.
Well, there was no thought of pleasing you when she was christened.
And what stature is she of?
Just as high as my heart.
You are full of pretty answers. Have you not been acquainted with goldsmiths' wives and conned them out of rings?
Not so, but I answer you right painted cloth, from whence you take your questions.
You have a nimble wit. I think it was made of Atalanta's heels. Come, will you sit, and we too rail against our mistress, the world, in all our misery?
I will chide no breather in the world, but against myself, for whom I know most faults.
The worst fault you have is to be in love.
'Tis a fault I would not trade for your greatest virtue. I am weary of you.
By troth, I was seeking a fool when I found you.
Oh, a fool. He is drowned in yonder brook. Look but in, and you shall see him.
There I shall see mine own figure.
Which I take to be either a fool or a cipher.
I tarry with you no longer. Farewell, good Signor Love.
Adieu, good Mr. Melancholy.
I will talk to him like a saucy lackey, and under that guise, play the knave with him. Do you hear, Forester?
Yes, very. What would you?
I pray you, what is the clock?
You should ask me what time of day it is. There is no clock in the forest.
Then there be no true lover in the forest. Else, groaning every minute and sighing every hour would detect the lazy foot of time just as well as a clock.
And why not the swift foot of time? Had not that been as proper?
By no means, sir. Time travels in diverse places with diverse persons. I'll tell you who time trots withal, who time ambles withal, who time gallops withal, and who time stands still withal.
I pray you, who doth time trot withal?
with a maid in between the contract of her marriage and the day it is solemnized. If the interim be more than a senight's time, seems the pace of 7 years.
Very well. And who doth time amble withal?
With a priest who lacks Latin and a rich man who hath not the gout. For one sleeps easily because he cannot study. The other lives merrily for he knows no pain. The one lacking lean and wasteful learning, the other knowing not the burden of heavy tedious penury. These time ambles withal.
And who doth time gallop withal?
With a thief to the gallows, for though he goes as soft as foot can fall, he finds himself too soon there.
And who stays it still?
With lawyers in the vacation, for they sleep between term and term, and yet they see not how time passes.
Where dwell you, pretty youth?
In the skirts of the forest, like the fringe upon his petticoat.
Are you native of this place?
As the coney you see dwell where she is kindled.
Huh. Your accent is something finer than you could have purchased in so removed a setting.
I've been told this of many, but indeed it was an old religious uncle of mine that did teach me to speak. For in his youth he was an inland man and knew courtship well, for it was there that he fell in love. Yes, I have heard him give many lectures against it, and I thank God I'm not a woman to be so taxed with all these giddy offenses, as God has generally taxed the whole sex with all.
Well, what were some of the principal evils he hath laid to the charge of women?
There were none principles. They were all like one another, as halfpence are, one fault seeming monstrous till its fellow fault came to match it.
I pray you recount some of them.
No. I will not waste my physic, but on those that are sick. There is a young man haunts this forest, abusing our young plants, hanging odes on hawthorns and elegies on brambles. If I could meet this fancy monger, I would give him good counsel, for he seems to have the quotidian of love upon him.
I am he that is so love-shaked. I pray you, tell me your remedy.
You do not have any of my uncle's marks upon you. He taught me to notice a man in love, in which cage of rushes I'm sure you are not.
I would I could make you believe I love.
Me believe it? You may as soon make her that you love believe it, which I can assure she is apter to do than to say she does. That is one of the points women continue to give the lie to their consciences for. But, gentle boy, are you he that hangs the verses on the trees where Rosalind is so admired?
I swear to the youth, by the pretty hand of Rosalind, I am that he.
Well, are you so in love as your verses say you are?
Neither rhyme nor reason can express how much.
Love is a madness, I tell you, and deserves as dark a house and whipping and chains as madmen do. And the reason they are not so cured and punished is because the lunacy is so ordinary that the whippers are in love too. I profess curing it by counsel.
Have you ever cured any so?
Yes, one, and in this way. He was to imagine me his love, his mistress, and I set him every day to woo me.
I would not be cured, youth.
I would cure you if you would but call me Rosalind and come to my coat every day to woo me.
Fine. By the faith in my love, I will. Tell me where it is.
Come with me and I shall show you where it is, and along the way, you will tell me where in the forest you live. Will you go?
Yes, pretty youth, I will.
Nay, you must call me Rosalind. Come, sister, will you go?
Come apace, good Audrey. I will fetch up your goats, Audrey. And how, Audrey, am I the man yet? Doth my simple features content you?
Your features? Lord, warn us. What features?
I'm here with thee and thy goats, as the most capricious poet, honest Ovid, was among the goats.
O knowledge, ill inhabited, Worse than Jove in a thatched house.
When a man's good wit cannot be understood, nor a man's verses seconded with a forechild understanding, it strikes a man more dead than a great reckoning in a little room. Truly, would the gods had made thee poetical.
I don't know what poetical is. Is it honest indeed a word? Is it a true thing?
No, truly, for the truest poetry is the most feigning, and lovers are given to poetry. And what they swear in poetry may be said as lovers they do feign.
Do you wish in the gods had made me poetical?
I do truly, for thou swearst me thou art honest. Now, if thou art a poet, I'd have some hope thou didst fame.
Would you not have me honest?
No, truly, for to have honesty cast upon beauty were to have honey as sauce to sugar.
A material fool.
Well, I'm not fair. Therefore I pray the gods that make me honest.
Truly, and to cast away honesty upon a foul slut were to put good meat to an unclean dish.
I'm not a slut, though I thank the gods I am foul.
Well, thank the gods for that foulness. Slutishness may come hereafter. But be it as it may, I will marry thee. And to that end, I've been in contact with Lady Olivia Martex, the vicar of the next village, who have promised to meet me here in the forest and to couple us.
I'd fain see this meeting.
Well, the gods give us joy.
Amen. Here comes Lady Olivia Martex now. Lady Olivia Martex, you are well met. We dispatch us here under this tree, or shall we go with you to your chapel?
Is there none here to give the woman?
I will not take her on gift of any man.
Truly, she must be given, or the marriage is not lawful.
Proceed, proceed. I'll give her.
Good evening, good master. What do you call it? How do you do, sir? You are very well met. God ild you for your last company. Even a toy in hand, sir. Nay, pray, be covered.
Will you be married, Martin?
As the ox hath his bow, the horse his curb, and the falcon her bells, so man hath his desires. And as pigeon's bill, so wedlock would be nibbling.
Will you, being a man of your breeding, be held under a bush like a beggar? Get you to a church and have a good priest tell you what marriage is. This woman will only join you together as they join wainscot. And then one of you will prove a shrunk panel like green timber. What?
To the mind, but I am better to be married to him than of another, for he is not like to marry me well, and not being well married, will hereafter give me good excuse to leave my wife.
Go thou with me and let me counsel thee.
Come away, good Audrey. We must be married. We must live in Baudry. Goodbye, Lady Olivia. Not oh sweet Olivia, oh kind Olivia, leave not behind thee. But wind away, be gone, I say. I will not to wedding with thee.
'Tis no matter. Ne'er a fantastical knave of them all shall flat me of my calling.
Never talk to me, I will weep.
Do, I prithee, but yet have the grace to consider that tears do not become a man.
Do I not have good cause?
As good cause as one would desire, therefore weep.
His very hair is of the disassembling color.
Something browner than Judas's. Mary's kisses are Judah's own children.
Aye, faith, his hair is of good color.
An excellent color. Your hair was ever the only color.
And his kisses are as full of sanctity as the touch of holy bread.
He hath brought a hair of castlips of Diana. A knot of winter sisterhood kisses not more religiously. The very ice of chastity is in them.
But you heard him say he'd be here this morning, and here he is not.
Nay, certainly there is no truth in him.
Do you think?
Yes. I think he is not a pick purse nor a horse stealer, but for his verity in love, I do think him as concave as a covered goblet or a worm-eaten nut.
Not true in love?
Yes, when he is in, but I think he is not in.
But you heard him say that he was.
Was is not is. Besides, the oath of a lover is no stronger than the word of a tapster. They are both the confirmer of false reckonings. He tends here in the forest on the Duke your father.
I saw the Duke yesterday and had good question with him. He asked me what parentage I was, and I said, as good as you are. And so he laughed and let me go. But what speak we of fathers when there is such a man as Orlando?
That's a brave man. He writes brave verses, speaks brave words, swears brave oaths, and breaks them bravely. Quite traverse athwart the heart of his lover, as a pussy tilter that spurs his horse but on one side, breaks his staff like a noble goose, but all is brave that love mounts and folly guides. Who comes here?
Oh no, mistress and master. You've often inquired after the young shepherd that complained of love, who you saw sitting by me on the turf, praising the proud, disdainful shepherdess that was his mistress.
Well, and what of him?
If you wish to see a pageant truly played between the pale complexion of true love and the red glow of scorn and proud disdain, go hence a little, and I shall conduct you if you will mark it.
Let us remove. The sight of lovers aids those in love.
Sweet Phoebe! Sweet Phoebe! Phoebe, sweet Phoebe! Do not scorn me! Say that you love me not, but say not so in bitterness. Common executioner, whose heart accustomed the sight of death makes hard, falls not the axe upon the humbled neck, but first begs pardon. Will you sterner be than he that lives and dies by bloody drops?
I would not be thy executioner. I fly thee, for I would not injure thee. Thou tellest me that there is murder in mine eye. 'Tis pretty, sure, and very probable that eyes that are the frailest and softest things, that shut their coward gates on enemies, should be called tyrants, butchers, murderers. Now, I do frown on thee with all my heart, and if eyes can wound, why now let them kill thee? Or counterfeit to swoon, oh, why now fall down? Or, if thou canst not, oh, for shame, lie not to say that mine eyes are murderers. Now, show the wound that mine eye hath made in thee. Scratch thee but with a pin, there remains some scar of it. Lean upon a rush, the cicatrice incapable in pressure thy palm some moment keeps. But now, mine eyes, which I have darted at thee, hurt thee not. Nor, I am sure, there is no force in eyes that can do hurt.
My dear Phoebe, if ever, as that ever may be near, you find in some fresh cheek the power of fancy, then shall you know the wounds invisible that love's keen arrows make.
But till that time, come not thou near me. And when that time comes, afflict me with thy mocks. Pity me not, as till that time I shall not pity thee.
And why, I pray you? Who might be your mother that you insult and exalt all at once over the wretched? What, that I see no beauty in you, no more than without candle may go dark to bed? Why, therefore, would you be most proud and pitiless? Why does she look upon me? It follows my little life. I think she means to tangle mine on too. No, Faith, mistress, look after it not. And you, foolish shepherd, wherefore do you follow her like foggy south puffing with wind and rain? You are 1,000 times proper a man than she is a woman. 'Tis fools such as you that fill the world with such ill-favored children. And you, know yourself, mistress, down on your knees, for I must tell you friendly in your ear, sell when you can, you are not for all markets. And therefore, cry the man mercy, love him, take his offer. Foul is most foul, being foul to be a scoffer. Fare you well.
I pray you chide a year together. I rather hear you chide than this man woo.
But he falls in love with your foulness, and she will fall in love with my anger. As soon as she looks upon you with foul looks, I will sauce her with bitter words. Why do you look upon me so?
For no ill will I bear you.
No, Faith, I pray you, do not fall in love with me, for I am as foul as boughs made in wine. Shall we go, sister? Shepherd, look upon her. Come, sister, and you, shepherdess, bear him well.
Dead shepherd, now I find thy saw of might. Whoever loved that loved not at first sight.
Pity me.
Why, I am sorry for thee, gentle Silvius.
pity me. Wherever sorrow is, relief would be. If you do sorrow and my grief in love, by giving love, your sorrow and my grief were both exterminated.
Thou hast my love. It's not that neighborly.
I would have you.
Why, that were covetousness. Silvius, the time was that I hated thee. And yet 'tis not that I bear thee love. But since that thou canst talk of love so well, thy company, which erst was irksome to me, I will endure. And I'll employ thee too. But do not look for further recompense than thine own gladness that thou art employed.
So holy and so perfect is my love, and I, in such a poverty of grace, that think it a most plenteous crop to glean the broken cars after the man that the main harvest reap. Lose now and then a scattered smile, and that I'll live upon.
Knowest thou the youth that spoke to me here a while?
Not very well, but I have met him oft. He bought the cottage in the bounds that the old Carlot was once master of.
Think not I love him, though I ask for him. 'Tis but a peevish boy. Yet he talks well, but what care I for words? Yet words do well when he that speaks them pleases those that hear. It is a pretty youth, though not very pretty. And sure, he's proud, and yet his pride becomes him. He'll make a proper man. The best thing in him was his complexion, and faster than his tongue did make offense, his eye did heal it up. He's not very tall, yet for his years he's tall, and his leg is but so-so. Yet 'tis well. There be some women, Silvius, had they marked him in parcels as I did, would have got near to fall in love with him. But for my part, I love him not, nor hate him not, yet have more cause to hate him than to love him. For what had he to do to chide at me? I'm remembered, scorned at me. I marvel why I answered not again. Yet 'tis all one. A minute is no quittance. I'll write to him a very taunting letter, and thou shalt bear it from me. Wilt thou, Silvius?
Phoebe, with all my heart.
I'll write it straight. The matter's in my head and in my heart. I'll be bitter with him and passing short. Go with me, Silvius.
I prithee, pretty youth, let me be better acquainted with thee.
They say you are a melancholy fellow.
Ah, yes, I do love it better than laughing.
Well, those that are in extremity of either are abominable fellows, and betray themselves worse in any modern censure than drunkards.
Why, 'tis good to be sad and say nothing.
Why, then 'tis good to be a post.
I have neither the scholar's melancholy, which is emulation, nor the musician's, which is fantastical, nor the courtier's, which is proud, nor the soldier's, which is ambitious, nor the lawyer's, which is politic, nor the lady's, which is nice, nor the lover, which is all of these. But it is a melancholy of my own, compounded of many simples extracted from many objects, and indeed my sundry travels, in which my often remunition wraps me in the most humorous of sadness.
A traveler! By my faith, you have good reason to be sad. I fear you have sold your own lands to see other men's. Them to have seen much and to have nothing is to have rich eyes and poor hands.
Yes, I have gained my experience.
And your experience makes you sad. I'd rather have a fool to make me merry than experience to make me sad, and to travel for it too.
Good day and happiness, dear Rosalind.
Nathan, God buy you, and you. Speak in blank verse.
Farewell, monsieur traveler. Look you lisp and wear strange suits. Disable all the benefits of your own country, and be not in love with your nativity, and almost chide God for making you the countenance that you are, else I will scarce think you swam in a gundalo. And how now, Orlando? Where have you been all this while, you a lover? You served me such another trick. Come no more in my sight.
My fair Rosalind, I come within an hour of my promise.
Break an hour's promise in love? He that will break a minute into 1,000 parts, and break but a part of the 1,000 parts of a minute in the affairs of love, it may be said that Cupid hath clapped him on the shoulder, but I'll warrant him heart whole.
Pardon me, dear Rosalind.
Nay, and you be so tardy, come no more in my sight. I'd as lief be wooed of a snail.
Snail?
Aye, of a snail, for he brings his house on his head. A better jointure, I think, than you make a woman. Besides, he brings his destiny with him.
What's that?
Why, horns, which such as you are fain to be disposed to your wives for. But he comes armed in his fortune and prevents the slander of his wife.
Virtue is no hornmaker, and my Rosalind is virtuous.
And I am your Rosalind.
It pleases him to call you so, but he hath a Rosalind a better leer than you.
Come, woo me, for I'm of holiday humor, and like enough to consent. What would you say to me that I were your very, very Rosalind?
I would kiss before I spoke.
Nay, you had better speak first. Very good orators, when they are out, they will spit, and for lovers, the cleanliest shift is to kiss.
How if the kiss be denied?
Then she puts you to entreaty, and there begins a new matter.
Who could be out being before his beloved mistress?
Mary, that would you if I were your mistress, else I think my honesty ranker than my wit.
What, of my suit?
Not out of your apparel, and yet out of your suit. Am I not your Rosalind?
Oh, it pleases me to say you are, for I would be talking to her.
Well then, in her person I say, I will not have you.
Then, in my person, I say I die.
No, Faith. Die by attorney. The poor world is almost 6,000 years old, and in all this time, not any man has died by his own person vitalescent in a love cause. Troilus, he had his brains dashed out by a Grecian club, and yet he did what he could to die before, and he is one of the patterns of love. Leander, good youth, he would have lived many a fair year if it had not been for a hot midsummer night. For good youth, he went but forth to wash him in the Hellespont, and being taken by the cramp, was drowned. And the foolish chroniclers of that time said it was hero Cestus, but these are all lies. Men have died from time to time, and worms have eaten them, but not for love.
I would not have my Rosalind of this right mind, for I protest her frown might kill me.
By this hand it will not kill a fly. But come, I will be your Rosalind of a more coming on disposition, and ask me what you will, I will grant it.
Then love me, Rosalind.
Yes, faith will I, Fridays and Saturdays and all.
And wilt thou have me?
Aye, and 20 such.
What sayest thou?
Are you not good?
I hope so.
Why then, could one have too much of a good thing? Come, sister, thou shalt play the priest and marry us. What say you, sister?
Pray thee, marry us.
I cannot say the words.
Come, you must begin. Will you, Orlando?
Go to. Will you, Orlando, have to wife this Rosalind?
I will.
Aye, but when?
Right now, as fast as she can marry us.
Then you must say, I take thee, Rosalind, for wife.
I take thee, Rosalind, for wife.
I should ask you for commission, but I do take thee, Orlando, for husband. There's a girl goes before the priest, and everyone knows a girl's thoughts do run before her actions.
So do all thoughts. They are winged.
Oh, tell me, how long would you have her after you have possessed her?
Forever and a day.
Say a day without the ever. No, Orlando. Men are April when they are wooing, and they are December when they are wed. But maids, they are May when they are maids, and the sky changes when they are wives. I will be more jealous than a Barbary cock pigeon over his hen, more clamorous than a parrot in the rain, more newfangled than an ape, more giddy in my defenses than a monkey. I'll cry like Diana in the fountain, and that when thou art disposed to be merry. I will laugh like a hind, and that when thou art disposed to sleep.
Will my Rosalind do so?
By my life, she will do as I do.
But she is wise.
Or else she would not have the wit to do this. The wiser, the waywarder. Make the doors on a woman's wit, and 'twill out at the casement. Shut that, and 'twill out at the keyhole. Close that, and 'twill fly with the smoke out of the chimney.
A man that had a wife of such a wit, he might say, wit whither wilt?
You might keep that choice until you find your wife's wit going to her neighbor's bed.
Well, wait, what wit could wit have to excuse that?
Why, to say she came to seek you there. You'll never catch her without her answer, unless you catch her without her tongue. But a woman that could not make her fault her own husband's occasion, let her never nurse her child, for she will breed it a fool.
Well, for these 2 hours, Rosalind, I will leave thee.
Alas, dear love, I cannot lack thee 2 hours.
I must attend the Duke at dinner, but by 2 o'clock I will be with thee again.
Go your ways, go your ways. I knew what you would prove. My friends told me as such, and I did not think any less. And so come death. 2 o'clock is your hour?
Aye, just.
By my troth, and in good faith, and by all petty oaths that are not dangerous, if you break a jot of your promise, or come a minute behind your hour, I will think you the most pathetical break promise, the most hollow lover, and the most unworthy of her that you call Rosalind, that can be chosen out of the gross band of the unfaithful. And therefore, beware your censor, and keep your promise.
With no less religion than if thou wert indeed my Rosalind, so adieu.
Time is the great judge that will judge you. And so adieu.
You have simply misused our sex in your love prate. We must have your doublet and hose plucked over your head to show the world what the bird hath done to her own nest.
Oh, cuz, oh, pretty little cuz. I would thou couldst stammer but my affections have an endless bottom, like the Bay of Portugal.
Or rather bottomless, but as fast as you pour affection in, it runs out.
No. That wicked bastard of Venus that was begot of thought and born of spleen and made mad. That blind, rascally boy who abuses everyone else's eyes because his own are out. Let him be the judge of how deep I am in love. I tell thee, Aliena, I cannot be out of the sight of Orlando. I'll go find the shadow and sigh until he returns.
And I'll sleep.
How say you now? Is it not 2 o'clock, and here much Orlando?
I warrant you, with pure love and troubled brain, he hath taken his bow and arrow and is gone forth to sleep. Look who comes here.
My errand is to you, fair youth. My gentle Phoebe did bid me give you this. I know not the contents, but as I can guess by the stern brow and waspish action she did use as she was writing of it, it bears an angry tenor. Pardon me, I am but a guiltless messenger.
Why, Patience herself would startle at this letter and play the swaggerer. Bear this. Bear all. She says I am not fair, that I lack manners, that she could not love me if man were as rare as Phoenix. Her love is not the hare that I do hunt. Why writes she so to me? Well, shepherd, well. This letter is of your own device.
No, I protest. I know not the contents. Phoebe did write it.
Come, come. You are a fool and turned into the extremities of love. I saw her hand. 'Twas a freestone-colored hand, a leathern hand. I verily did think her old gloves were on, but 'twas her hand. She has a huswife's hand. But I say she never did invent this letter. 'Tis of a man's invention and of his hand.
Sure it is hers.
No, 'tis of such boisterous and cruel style, a style for challengers. Why, she defies me as Turks to Christians. Woman's gentle brain could not drop forth such giant, rude invention. Will you hear the letter?
So please you, for I have not heard it yet heard too much of Phoebe's cruelty.
Art thou God to shepherd turned, that a maiden's heart hath burned? Can a woman rail thus?
Call you this railing?
Why, then God had laid apart, wast thou with a woman's heart. Did you ever hear such railing? Whiles the eye of man did woo me, that could do no vengeance to me, meaning me the beast. If the scorn of your bright eyne have a power to raise such love in mine, alack in me, while strange effect would they work in mild aspect. Whiles you chide me, I did love, how then might your prayers move? He that brings his love to thee, little knows the love in me, and by him seal up thy mind, whether that thy youth and kind will the faithful offer take of me, and all that I can make, or else by him my love deny, and then I shall study how to die. Do you pity him? No, he deserves no pity. Shepherd, tell her this. If she loves me, then I do charge her to love thee. Go your ways, for here comes someone new.
Good morrow, fair ones. Pray you, if you know, where in this forest stands a sheepcote fenced about with olive trees?
West of this place, down by the neighbor bottom. The rank of osiers by the murmuring stream, left at your right hand, brings you to the place, but at this hour the house doth keep itself, there's none within.
If that an eye may profit by a tongue, then should I know you by description? Such garments and such years. The boy is low and of female favor, and bestows himself like a ripe sister. The woman fair and lighter than her brother. Are not you the owner of the house I did inquire for?
I am, but what must we become of this?
Orlando doth commend him to you both, and to that youth he calls his Rosalind. He sends this bloody napkin. Are you he?
I am, but what must become of this?
Some of my shame, if you will know of me, what man I am, and how and why and where this handkerchief was stained.
I pray you tell it.
When last the young Orlando parted from you both, he left a promise to return again. Within an hour, and pacing through the forest, chewing the food of sweet and bitter fancy, lo, what befell? He threw his eye aside, and mark what object did present itself. Underneath an old oak with boughs mossed with age and high-top bald with dry antiquity, a wretched, ragged man with hair overgrown lay sleeping about his back. About his neck a green and gilded snake had wreathed itself, and with her head in nimble threats approached the opening of his mouth. But suddenly, seeing Orlando, it unlinked itself, and with indented glides did slip away into a bush, under which bush's shade a lioness with udders all drawn dry lay couching, head on ground, with cat-like watch, for that when the sleeping man should stir. For 'tis the royal disposition of that beast to prey on nothing that doth seem as dead. This seen, Orlando approached the man and found that it was his brother, his elder brother.
Oh, I have heard of him speak of that same brother, and he did render him the most unnatural that lived amongst men.
And well he might so do, for well I know he was unnatural.
But to Orlando, did he leave him there, food for the sucked and hungry lioness?
Twice did he turn his back, and propose so. But kindness, nobler ever than revenge, and nature, stronger than his just occasion, made him give battle to the lioness, who quickly fell before him, in which hurtling from my miserable slumber, I awaked.
Are you his brother?
'Tis you he rescued?
Was you that did so oft contrive to kill him?
'Twas I, but 'tis not I. I do not shame to tell you what I was, for my conversion so sweetly tastes, being the thing that I am.
But for the bloody napkin.
By and by, from the first and last betwixt us two, tears our countenance had most kindly bathed, as how I came unto that desert place. In brief, he led me unto the gentle Duke, who gave me fresh array and entertainment, committing me unto my brother's love, who led me instantly unto his cave. There stripped himself, and here upon his arm, the lioness had torn some flesh away, which all this while had bled. And now he fainted, and cried in fainting upon his Rosalind. In brief, I recovered him, bound up his wound, and after some small space, being strong at heart, he sent me hither, stranger as I am, that I may tell this story, and that you may excuse his broken promise, and to give this napkin, dyed in his blood, unto that shepherd youth, which he in sport doth call his Rosalind.
Why, how now, Ganymede? Cousin Ganymede!
Many will swoon when they do look on blood.
There is more in it. Sweet Ganymede!
Look, he recovers.
Oh, I would I were at home.
We'll lead you hither. I pray you, will you take him by the arm?
Be of good cheer, youth. You a man, you lack a man's heart.
I do so. One would think this were good counterfeit. I pray you, tell your brother how well I counterfeited.
This was not counterfeit, for there is too great testimony in your complexion that it was a passion of earnest.
Counterfeit, I assure you.
Well then, take a good heart and counterfeit to be a man.
I do so. I say I should have been born a woman by right.
Come, come, you look paler and paler. We'll lead you home. Good sir, will you go with us?
That will I, for I must bear answer back. How you excuse my brother, Rosalind?
I'll come up with something, but pray you commend my counterfeiting to him. Will you go?
We shall find a time, Audrey. Patience, gentle Audrey.
Faith, the priest is good enough for the old gentleman's saying.
A most wicked Lady Olivia, Audrey, a most vile Martext. But Audrey, there is a youth in the forest that lays claim to you.
I know who 'tis. He hath no interest in me in the world. Here comes the man you mean.
It is meat and drink to see a clown. By my troth, we that have good wits have much to answer for. We shall be flouting, we cannot hold.
Good evening, Audrey.
Goddie, good even, William.
Oh, good evening to you too, sir.
Good evening, gentle friend. Cover thy head, nay, prithee, be covered. How old are you, sir?
25, sir.
A ripe age. Is thy name William?
Aye, William, sir.
A fair name. Was born in the forest here.
Aye, sir. Thank God.
Thank God. A good answer. Art rich.
In faith, sir, so.
So is good. Very good. Very excellent good. And yet, it is not. It is but so. Art thou wise?
Aye, sir. I have a pretty wit.
I do now remember a saying. The fool doth think he is wise, but the wise man knows himself to be a fool. The heathen philosopher, when he had the desire to eat a grape, would open his lips and put the grape into his mouth, meaning thereby the grapes were made to eat, and lips to open. You do love this maid?
Do, sir.
Give me your hand. Art thou learned?
No, sir.
Ah, then learn this of me. To have is to have. For it is a figure in rhetoric that drink, being poured from a cup into a glass, by filling the one, doth empty the other. For all your writers to consist to ipse is he. Now you are not ipse, for I am he.
Which he, sir? Sir?
He, sir, that must marry this woman. Therefore, you clown, abandon, which is in the vulgar, leave the society, which in the boorish is company of this female, which in the common is woman, which together is abandon the society of this female, or clown thou perish, or to thy better understanding diest, or to wit, I kill thee, make thee away. Translate thy life into death, thy liberty into bondage. I will deal in poison with thee, or in bastinado, or in steel. I will kill thee 150 ways, therefore tremble and depart.
Do good, William.
God rest you merry, sir.
Our master and mistress seeks you. Come, away.
Trip, Audrey, trip. I attend.
Ah, it's possible that on so little acquaintance you should like her, and liking learn to love, and loving woo, and wooing she should grant. And will you persevere to enjoy her?
Do not call the giddiness of it in question, nor the poverty of her, nor the small acquaintance, nor her sudden wooing, or my sudden consenting. But say with me, I love Aliena. Say with her that she loves me. Consent with both that we may enjoy each other. It shall be for your good, and all the revenue that was owed Sir Roland's will I estate upon you. And here live and die as a shepherd.
You have my consent. Let your wedding be tomorrow, and thither I will invite the Duke and all's contented followers. But go you and prepare Aliena, for look, here comes my Rosalind.
God save you, brother.
And you, fair sister.
My dear Orlando, how it pains me to see your heart in a scarf.
'Tis my arm.
I thought your heart had been wounded with the claws of a lion.
Wounded it is, but with the eyes of a lady.
Did your brother tell you how well I counterfeited to Soon at the sight of your handkerchief?
Aye, and greater wonders than that.
Nay, I know where you are. No, there was nothing more sudden than the crash of ram's heads, or Caesar's thersonical brag of I came, I saw, and I overcame. For your brother and my sister no sooner looked than they loved, no sooner loved than they sighed, no sooner sighed than they asked the reason, no sooner knew the reason than they sought a remedy. And in these degrees they have made a stairway to marriage, and will go forth into incontinence, else be incontinent before marriage. Nay, they are in the very thrashes of love. Clubs could not part them.
Aye, and they shall be married tomorrow. And I will bid the Duke to the nuptial, but oh, how bitter it is to look into happiness through another man's eyes. By so much the more tomorrow shall I be at the height of heart heaviness in thinking that my brother is happy in having what he wishes for.
Why then tomorrow I cannot serve your turn for Rosalind?
I can live no longer by pretending.
Then I shall weary you no longer with idle talking. Therefore, believe, if you please, that I can do strange things. For since I have been 3 years old, I have had conversation with a magician, very profound in his art and yet not damnable. And therefore, if you do love Rosalind so near your heart as you say you do, when your brother marries Aliena, then you shall marry her. I can see into what straits of fortune she is moved, and it is not impossible to me, if it be not inconvenient to you, that I bring her before your very eyes, as human as she is, and without any danger.
Speakest thou in sober meanings?
By my life, which I love dearly, though I say I am a magician. And therefore, come in your best apparel and bid your friends, for tomorrow you shall be wed if you will, and to Rosalind if you will. But look, here comes a lover of mine and a lover of hers.
Youth, thou hast done me much ungentleness to show the letter I writ to you.
I care not if I have. It is my study to be most disgraceful to you. Look, you are there followed by a most faithful shepherd. Love him, look upon him. He worships you.
Silvius, tell him what it is to love.
It is to be all made of faith and service, and so am I for Phoebe.
And so am I for Ganymede.
So am I for Rosalind.
And so am I for no woman.
It is to be all made of sighs and tears, and so am I for Phoebe.
And so am I for Ganymede.
And so am I for Rosalind.
And so am I for no woman.
It is to be all made of fantasy, all made of passion, all made of wishes, all adoration, duty, and observance, all patience, impatience, and humbleness, all purity, all trial, and observation. And so am I for Phoebe.
And so am I for Ganymede.
And so am I for Rosalind.
And so am I for no woman.
If this be true, then why blame you me to love you?
If this be true, why blame you me to love you?
If this be true, why blame you me to love you?
Why do you speak too? Why blame you me to love you?
Her that is here and doth not hear.
Stop, no, this is more annoying than Irish wolves howling against the moon. I would help you if I could. I would love you if I could. Meet you all together tomorrow. I will marry you if I ever marry woman, and I will be wed tomorrow. I will satisfy you if I ever satisfy man, and you will be wed tomorrow. I will content you if what pleases you contents you, and you will be wed tomorrow. From henceforth I go. I've given you all commands.
I'll not fail if I live.
Nor will I.
Nor will I.
Tomorrow is a joyful day, Audrey. Tomorrow we shall be married.
I do desire with all my heart, and I hope it is not dishonest desire to be a woman of the world.
Dost thou believe, Orlando, that the boy can do all he hath promised?
I sometimes do and sometimes do not. For those that fear, they hope, and know they fear.
Good Duke, you say that if I bring your Rosalind, you will bestow her upon Orlando here?
That would I, had I kingdoms to give with her.
And you say you will receive her when I bring her?
That would I, were I of all kingdoms king.
You say you will marry me if I be willing?
That would I, should I die the hour after.
But refusing, you will marry this good shepherd here?
So is the bargain.
And you say you will have Phoebe if she be willing?
Though to have her and death were both one thing.
Good Duke, keep your promise and give your daughter. You keep yours and receive his daughter. You keep your promise and marry me. else you refuse to marry this shepherd here. And you keep your promise to marry Phoebe if she refuses me. From henceforth I go to make all these compacts urged.
I remember that in that shepherd boy, I see some lively touches of my daughter's favor.
My lord, when first I saw him, methought he was a brother to your daughter, but my lord, that boy is forest-born and hath been trained in the rudiments of many a desperate studies by his uncle, whom he claims to be a great magician obscured in the circle of this forest.
There's sure another flood toward, and these couples are coming to the ark. Here comes a pair of very strange beasts, which in all tongues are called fools.
Salutations and greetings to you all.
Good, my lord, bid him welcome. This is the motley-minded gentleman that I have so often met in the forest. He hath been a courtier, he swears.
If any man doubt that, let him put me to right purgation. I have trod a measure, I have flattered a lady, I've been politic with my friend, smooth with my enemy, I've undone 3 tailors, I've had 4 quarrels, and like to have fought 1.
Is this not a rare fellow, my lord? He's good at anything, and yet a fool.
He uses his folly like a stalking horse, that under his presentation he shoots his wit.
Then is there mirth in heaven, when earthly things made even atone together. Good Duke, receive thy daughter. Hymen from heaven brought her, yea, brought her hither. So that thou mightst join her hands with his, whose heart within his bosom is. To you I give myself, for I am yours. To you I give myself, for I am yours.
If there be truth in sight, you're my daughter.
If there be truth in sight, you are my Rosalind.
If sight and shape be true, why then my love I do.
I'd have no father if you be not he. I'd have no husband if you be not he. And I'd never marry woman if you not be she.
Peace, ho, I bar confusion, 'tis I must make conclusion of these most strange events. Here's 8 that must take hands to join in Hymen's band. If truth has true content, you and you no cross shall part. You and you are heart and heart. To you his love must accord, or have a woman be your lord. You and you are sure together, as winter to foul weather. While a wedlock hymn we sing, feed ourselves with questioning. As wonder we things diminish, as thus we met and these things finish.
Oh, my dear niece, welcome thou art to me, even daughter in no less degree.
I will not eat my word. Now thou art mine, thy faith my fancy to me doth combine.
Let me have the audience for a word or two. I am the second child of old Sir Rowland that bring these tidings to this fair assembly. Duke Frederick, hearing how every day men of great worth resorted to this forest, addressed a mighty power, which were on foot, by his own conduct, purposely, to take his brother here and put him to the sword. Into the skirts of this wild wood he came, where, meeting an old religious man, and after some questioning with him, was converted, both from his enterprise and from this world. His crown bequeathing to his banished brother, and their lands restored to them that were with him exiled. This to be true I do engage my life.
Welcome, thou offerest fairly to thy brothers' wedding. One his lands withheld, and to the other a land itself at large, a potent dukedom. First in this forest we shall do those ends, that here, well, begun and well begot. After every of this happy number that have endured shrewd days and nights with us, shall share our good returned fortune according to their states. Let's forget this new fallen dignity, and let's fall into rustic revelry. Brides and bridegrooms all, measures heaped in joy, till the alley measures fall.
Madam, if I heard you rightly, the Duke hath put on a religious life and thrown into neglect the pompous court?
He hath.
Then out of these convertees there is much to be heard and learned. You to your former honor I bequeath, your patience and your virtue well deserves it. You to a love your true faith doth merit. You to your land and love and great allies. You to a long and well-deserved bed. And you to wrangling for thy loving voyages, but 2 months ficked also to your pleasures. I am for other than for dancing measures.
Stay.
To see no pastime I, what you will have, I see to know at your abandoned cave.
Proceed, proceed. We'll begin these rites, as we trust they'll do end in true delights.
Istud vinum bonum finum finum generosum, redit virum curianem probum animosum, Bacchus forte superans pectora virorum, in amorem concitat animus eorum, istud vinum bonum finum finum generosum, redit virum curianem probum animosum, Bacchus sepe visitans mulierum genus, facit ea sumptitas tibio tu venus, istud vinum bonum finum finum generosum, redit virum curianem probum animosum, Bacchus penas penetrans canidonit fore, facit ea signeas veneris ardore, istud vinum bonum finum finum generosum, redit virum curianem probum animosum, Bacchus lenis lenies curas et dolores, confet iocum gaudia risus et amores, istud vinum bonum finum finum generosum, redit virum curianem probum animosum, Bacchus mentem femine solet implenire, cogit eam Sitius virum consentire, istud vinum bonum finum finum generosum, redit virum curianem probum animosum, aqua prorsus coitum nequid impetrare, Bacchus eam facile solet expurgare, istud vinum bonum finum finum generosum, redit virum curianem probum animosum, Bacchus nomen faciens hominem iocundum, redit eum pariter doctum et facundum, istud vinum bonum finum finum generosum, redit virum curianem probum animosum, Bacche Deus inclite omnes incastantes, legis somus numera tua prelibantes, istud vinum bonum finum finum generosum, redit virum curianem probum animosum, istud vinum bonum finum finum generosum, redit virum curianem probum animosum. Hey, we did this! Something! We did something! Look at what we did!
All right, cut.